It snowed last night, and of course now it's raining. And tonight it will freeze. It's going to be a nasty mess. But I'll want to go outside. I just know it. I have to clean things off. I got to run errands. And with this weather, the power might go down. So what's a gal to do? Well, I use 3 tech pieces more than any others. I'm going to explain that today. 2 are about safety, and 1 is about not getting bored if the grid goes down. Hi there, I'm Judith, and this is Brekkie right behind me, and he's a total wiggle worm today, I'll warn you. I started this channel because I own a little house. And this little house has taught me so many things. In fact, it's really made me focus on safety, and that's what I'm about today. I want to share those things. Before I get into the groove, I want to make 2 points that are really critical to what I have to say. I am not a representative of a manufacturer, nor am I an employee. If I suggest things or explain what I use, it's because I actually use them and generally love them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling you about them. My second point is, some of this technology is about your safety, my safety. It's about your health, my health. I wouldn't in 1,000 years buy this kind of technology on Amazon. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. Actually, for the items that I'm going to explain here that are critical, they both come from Apple. I highly recommend that you buy Apple equipment from Apple directly. This is about your health and safety. Apple has great customer service online, and they'll be able to help you figure out exactly what features match your particular needs. That's really important when it comes to technology, in my experience. But more than that, I can trade in old equipment at Apple. Every year, I might trade in one of my pieces and get a new one. So maybe I have each piece of equipment for 3 years or so. Every year I trade one in. This year I traded in an iPad. Next year, maybe my desktop. I haven't decided yet. But I love it that I can trade in items, and you can't just do that anywhere. And my senior friends, this is a personal recommendation. They tell me they have really good luck talking to Apple directly for help with this and that, technical things, or simple customer service. So yes, I can't recommend any other way except direct. I'm very opinionated about that, I know. But I've had technology for decades, so that's where my opinion comes from. It's based in my experience. Actually, I've had my own computer since 1986. That means almost 40 years. That's really incredible. And I know young people like to disparage seniors for not knowing a whole lot about technology, but I had technology before their mothers were born. My first line of technology in any kind of weather is a safety device. It's my Apple Watch. It came out long before I got one. I just thought they were the coolest things ever, just to look at. I so wanted one, but I couldn't really justify it. I couldn't. It just seemed like kind of a handy gadget. And sure, it could measure my steps, or my mileage, or this feature and that feature. But I didn't really need all those features. I could use some other gadget to do that. Yeah, I hankered after one. I just thought they were the coolest thing ever. But then I heard something that interested me. When I was building this house, I became really focused on safety. There are a lot of safety elements built into the house. I can talk about those in a later video, but I was really focused on being able to live here until the day I die. Everything I could, I made as safe as possible. So I came to 2020 or so thinking very seriously about my safety. What happened? With my big ears, I heard that the Apple Watch would give you fall detection. First, I thought that sounded like a strange thing, and then I realized, oh, it detects when you fall over. It isn't some newfangled detail that I know nothing about. It detects when you fall over. Oh gosh, that I needed. I needed it in the house. I need it when I was out and about. I need it when I'm enjoying the freedom of the universe. That was my motivation for getting one. Now, I was in a little bit of a fix and also not so much. I have never been a big phone user. I don't know why. I didn't grow up with telephones. I mean, we didn't make calls. I know that sounds funny, but I guess I grew up in the dark ages, and I was very late coming to smartphones, even though I'd had technology for years and years and years at that point. I had a flip phone, and my plan cost $5 a month. There was really no incentive to get beyond that. But when I was designing this house and planning with the builder and having my hand held by the finance people, I had to get a smartphone, or at least I decided that was the best way to go about my life then. So I got myself an iPhone. And as it turned out, that iPhone was really useful when it came to getting an Apple Watch. Very useful. Why? Oh gosh. This is going to take a little bit of explanation. Why would that be useful? Because my Apple Watch, the way it's set up, if I fall over and this detects it, it's using my phone to dial 911. That's really interesting. Think about that. I don't have to buy cell service to my watch. I have cell service to my iPhone. Most of us have to have cell service, and we have to have it to a phone, so there was no extra cost to that. Sometimes I think I'm so smart. Anyway, I got me an Apple Watch. I got the basic model. That was plenty for me. But I will put in a note here again. This wouldn't be plenty for everyone. I have friends who use other features on the Apple Watch and who need a more sophisticated one. I just didn't happen to need all those features. Although I will tell you, during COVID, I do virtual meetings with doctors, and I just tell them what my heart rate was, since they weren't around to measure my blood pressure or some of my other vitals. It was a good signifier about my everyday health. I have some things to say and some examples to give you about how my watch works out day to day. I did mention that the way I'm set up is my Apple Watch uses my iPhone to make calls to 911 if it detects I fell over. So what does that look like? Well, I convinced a friend of mine to get one of these. She got a little bit more advanced model than I have. And no sooner had she got one, I looked outside one day in this icy kind of weather, and there she was, belly down on the pavement. And what was she doing? She was talking to her Apple Watch. I'd never seen anyone do that. But it proves my point. She was talking to her Apple Watch because her Apple Watch had detected that she had fallen over. And then it had made the call to dispatch, and the EMTs were on their way. Soon enough, they showed up, put her back on her feet, sent her back home. She was good to go. That's the best example I can think of how this might work. I had a similar experience myself. In the early days of owning this house, I was futzing around at the far reaches of my yard. Now, my yard is not very big, but it's a little bit from the house, 50 feet or so, I would say. And maybe I was a little bit into the urban jungle that's behind my house. At any rate, I must have slipped on some rubble or something. It's a little bit dicey back there. Next thing I know, my wrist is vibrating. So I look at it and it says, "Are you okay?" I quick said yes. But I realized it would have called 911 if I hadn't responded. And the interesting thing was, my phone wasn't with me. It was in the house. But you see, it was within range so that my watch could use the phone to make the call. I didn't need it that time, but it told me my setup worked really well. And my final example, consider the freedom about this. I was out hiking, not just in the vicinity of my home. I was out hiking, and of course I had my phone with me. I needed that for whatever. I took a pit stop because I had a nature call. And next thing I know, I am face down in the duff. I mean, face down. I don't even know how I got there. It happened so fast. My nose was in dead leaves. Next thing, I feel this vibration. Oh, my wrist. Oh, I better tell it I'm okay. So I hit the required button. If I hadn't hit the required button, it was all ready to call the satellite. Why? There was no cell service in that area. I just think that's marvelous. I could go anywhere. In fact, I can go anywhere in the US, and if I have my iPhone with me and it detects I fall over, somehow or other, someone is going to be notified if I don't respond. It's incredible, really. And just a note about pricing. In the old days, remember those ads from Lifeline, or whatever that box is called? "I've fallen over, help." I got one of those from my mother because it was 20 years ago or so, before this technology came out. I got one of those for her, and you had to have a landline to work with it. And then I think you wore like a necklace around your neck. And if you fell over, you'd call, and the necklace would communicate with the box, and they'd get you some help. It only worked pretty much within the house. She had a couple floors. I don't think it worked in the whole house. But good enough, I thought. Plus, she had to have that landline. Between those two things, the rent for the box and the payment for the landline, that's about $80 a month. To do what I'm doing with my Apple Watch, and I can do it way better. I can go out and about. I can be anywhere. She was only going to get help on that Lifeline if she was in her house. So yeah, I think it was $250, and this is my 4th year. So, a bargain, I think. My second piece of safety technology is that blue ball that's sitting on my windowsill. What is it? It's actually a speaker. And yeah, it amplifies my computer, but that's not why I got it. I don't exactly need amplification for my computer. I could probably hear the speakers on this computer all over my house. It is a nice sound that comes out of that little speaker, though. So I appreciate it that way, but it's not why I bought it. I bought it because I can call out, and that speaker will use my iPhone to call 911. Whatever it is. I could yell. I could fall over. I could have a stroke. I might get burned in the kitchen. So many things could happen here. All I have to do is call out, and that speaker will use my iPhone to call dispatch and get me some help. I think it's quite marvelous, and it's just so basic. No need to get fancy here. Basic, simple, multi-use. Now, I know from experience that this little speaker will handle my whole house. I could slip in the shower and call out, and it would call 911. And the shower is, 15 feet away. Yeah, my house is pretty small, so my voice wouldn't have to carry very far. But just in case, I put another one next to my bed. I had a coupon or something from Apple, and so I used that coupon and put another one next to my bed because I'm not very lucid in the night, and I was afraid I might get paralyzed with fear or really be not quite connected if I had an intruder in my yard. So I put one by my bed too, just in case. I demonstrate for you, but I think it would be a really bad idea because next thing I know, the EMTs will be over here, and I don't need them right now. As I hope you can see, I'm using technology to help me stay safe, and I'm really focused on that. I don't need safety-specific technology. I need sophisticated technology or even basic technology like what I have behind me. But that stuff is out there. It's readily accessible. But please, just a big reminder, get it from Apple directly, not any other source, because the details should be matching your needs. And this is safety and health equipment. Anything I say should be verified. I can only speak from my own experience. Now, another problem I have with this kind of weather, the grid can go down. I'll say more about this in another video because I have some other little strategies. But when the grid goes down, I really feel like I want to hunker in at home. Stay warm. Stay occupied, interested. So how do I handle that? As soon as I get one of those weather alerts, I go to the e-library that belongs to the state. Every state has one of those. So I go online with whatever equipment I have. So many possibilities there. I'm sure you all have that equipment already. If you access the e-library, you can download electronic books. So I get one of those storm alerts and immediately I'm downloading electronic books. I'm allowed to have 3. Only 3. That's my state's limit. In other states, they might let you have more. And I will tell you, it's very hard to get one of the really popular books. There are long waiting lists for that. My state doesn't have a lot of money for books. Anyway, I can usually find something or 3 somethings that'll interest me if the grid goes down. It is what it is. So I download those, and I usually download those in Kindle format. For those of you who are not familiar, you don't need the Kindle device to do that. You just need the Kindle app. It goes on many different devices. And then what else do I do? Well, I don't know about you, but I have Amazon Prime. I have it mostly so I can get cheap deliveries. I live in a smallish town. There's a lot of stuff we can't get here. And often I don't feel like going shopping. So I'll just order an item from Amazon and it gets delivered efficiently. But I have found out a couple of advantages to this Amazon Prime that I didn't realize in the beginning. One is that I can watch movies. I didn't know that. Amazon Prime lets me download a certain number of free Kindle books. And I love that little feature. What kinds of books do I like? I like those little snacks of mystery stories. The kinds where the author has written maybe 50 of them. They have quirky characters, they have quirky romances, they have quirky settings. They're just like little morsels of fun. Maybe 150 pages or so if you were looking at pages in a book. Maybe even just 100. Anyway, I think they're so fun. And they're great for binge reading when there's a storm on and I just need fun little morsels of something to keep me interested and occupied, or just warm and cozy. So those are my favorite 3 technologies for bad weather, inside and out. Even in good weather, I really rely on those to enjoy myself, stay safe in the house. Have you had any experience using technology for safety and for fun in your homes or out and about? Please share. I'm sure everyone will be really interested in what you have to say. I know I will be. And subscribe. That really helps me out, and I'm trying to build community here so we can talk about housing and aging in place, downsizing, all of that. And I hope you have less than a stormy day today. Enjoy yourselves, inside, outdoors, all of it, and I'll see you soon.